Hey everyone, Scott Cunningham, aka Sconcy Business. Today we're going to be talking about, are pseudonyms necessary? Privacy versus trust. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I had someone comment a few days ago on one of my channels that they thought it was really, really unnecessary that people are using pseudonyms, and they thought it was disingenuous because these people were hiding behind, some avatar to be able to, maybe espouse things that are counterproductive to, a civil discussion or whatever it might be. I mean, maybe they're just trolls, maybe they're just, maybe they're hackers, maybe whatever it tends to be. This person thought that if you were using a pseudonym more or less, or an avatar or whatever, and you're hiding behind something and not showing who you truly are, that you are somehow being dishonest or disingenuous. And I think this is a really interesting discussion. I actually disagree, and for a good reason. While I understand where this person is coming from, obviously, with people with bot accounts, with people making like 10 accounts so they can harass people and all these different things, that's obviously bad. But there's a lot of places where people don't have free speech and they don't have the luxury of using their true name and their true, face and identity. A lot of places, even today, just culturally, not legislatively, like in Canada, we don't have fully protected free speech, but even if you were in the US, some people might have or might want to talk about something very controversial, and they know that they're not going to be able to do so unless they do so under some sort of pseudonym. Another really, really big example that I think is really important is like people who leak really important information. And just looking at Edward Snowden or Julian Assange, it's like you can see why using your true name and everything could obviously cause a problem. I mean, yes, they're infamous, but the government's looking for them. Like, it's definitely not a good thing. And I mean, I definitely believe in them standing up for what they believe in. I fully support them 100%. But when someone else looks at what's happening to them, I don't think that they're very encouraged to do the same thing. Naturally, a pseudonym would allow them to try to at least be a part of that without, risking their financial livelihood or, being jailed or whatever it might be. Depends where you live. I think this is a very, very interesting conversation because it's the difference between privacy and trust. At what point can we not trust, some pseudonym account, and at what point do we draw the line with privacy? And it's a hard debate because, where is the line drawn? I lean more towards, I think privacy is more important. I think there's more trust in a system that has privacy than a system that is fully public and everyone can see everything. I do think transparency is important, but I think people deserve and have the right to privacy. For the same reason that this person who was claiming this wouldn't share their password with me. Well, why not? Well, they don't trust me with their password, and their password is private. It is theirs. It is just for them. In the same way that maybe you don't want to be sharing your real name, and that's up to you to do. Hence privacy. You might not trust them as much, but that's up to the individual. And then you can decide on your own if you trust them or not based on whether or not they're giving their real identity or not. And, this goes back to one of the conversations that I started like a year and a half ago where I was talking about, is it censorship to block someone in some respect? Like not institutional censorship, but still like you're restricting people's access to public, to a public forum. I mean, it's private because it's your page, but it's different when it's like a celebrity or a politician, especially. But it's like, say enough people block you, maybe arbitrarily because you're being smeared or whatever, and then you're not able to defend yourself to these people, and they'll keep smearing you, and you can't even see that it's happening, and et cetera, et cetera. Privacy and trust, right? If you were using a pseudonym, then it might not even matter that much. But if it's your real identity, then you might go down in flames. I've chosen to use my real identity everywhere I go because that's just the way that I've set up my brand and the way that I've done this. And I think it's important because, I'm also on video and you can see who I am and everything. Whereas I don't think I would have as much authority or trust if I was, just using a black screen and talking and had a pseudonym and had an avatar that represented me rather than actually me going in front of the camera. I think there's that little bit of extra trust between you and the audience because you're putting yourself a little bit more out there on the line and you're risking more to do this. But again, I would like to hear some rebuttals to this and why maybe it wouldn't be a good idea for allowing pseudonyms. Not that I would ever have it enforced or legislated against allowing, anonymity online, but I think it's a very interesting conversation and debate to be had. So I'd love to hear what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comments below. I know this is a short video because I don't actually have a solution here. I just have my side of the argument, and I'm very open to hear what the other side is. And, maybe I'm open to my mind being changed. I don't know what the other side has to say. But at the end of the day, I think there are more rational, reasonable reasons why you might need a pseudonym versus not having one. And a few months ago, I actually interviewed a platform. I interviewed the CEO of a platform called Social Chains. And it never took off because they required KYC verification for anyone using the platform. And the idea was that if it was everyone who was a real person, no bots, and you are who you say you are, it would be the most effective social media because we'd avoid so much problems with spam and bots and all these things. But who is really willing to give their ID to a social platform just to use it, let alone to be verified, but just to use it? It's just it's not really realistic, and people want anonymity because people say controversial things and they do controversial things that aren't legally a problem, but culturally they would be ostracized. And sometimes I think ostracizing people for certain things, it might make sense, but today, more than often, I see people being ostracized for ridiculous things, and it's a cultural attack on free speech. And having anonymity and pseudonyms and avatars and things like that online are a way to protect yourself. So let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I'm Scott Cunningham, aka Scottsy Business, signing off. Cheers.